you're too loving to leave me. Lord, you're too loving to leave me. Lord, too loving to leave me. Too loving, too loving, too loving. Leave me. Too loving to leave me. I pray. You thought you almost been. I've come to realize. Yeah. Lord, too loving to leave me. Yes. You're too faithful to fail me. Oh, yeah.
I see, it's you that I see. At the center of it all, it's you that I see. It's you that I see. is power in your name. Miracles happen in your name. As we lift our voice in praise, it's you that I see. It's you that I see. Sing it out, say.
At the center of it all.
It's you that I see.
It's you that I see.
Jesus only.
It's you that I see.
Lift those hands wherever you are. At the center.
At the center
Of it all. It's you that I see.
It's you that I see.
Only you, Jesus.
It's you that I see.
Lift those hands, say. There is power.
There is power in your name.
Miracles happen.
Miracles happen
In your name. As we lift our voice,
as we lift a voice of praise.
it's you that I see.
It's you that I see.
Thank you, Jesus.
It's you that I see.
One more time, sing with us. Sing. At the center.
At the center of it all.
Yeah.
It's you that I see.
Jesus.
It's you that I see.
Nobody else is worthy. At the center, Lord.
At the center of it all.
Only you.
It's you that I
I see.
see. It's you that I see.
Lift those hands wherever you are, declare it. There is power.
There is power in your name.
Miracles happen
Miracles happen
in your name. As we lift our voices,
as we lift a voice of praise.
it's you I see.
It's you that I see.
Yeah.
That I see.
One more time, wherever you are, declare it. There is power.
There is power in your name.
Miracles happen.
Miracles happen in your name.
As we lift our voices,
As we lift a voice of praise.
bring it on. See you that I see. Jesus. See you that
I see.
you are bigger, bigger than the biggest. You are stronger, stronger than the strongest.
Waymaker, can you ever lose your way? In life, is it possible for you to lie? Forever Thursday, can you ever make a mistake? You are more than the words we're saying. You are everything. Oh, waymaker, can you ever lose your way? The truth in life, is it possible for you to lie? Forever Thursday, can you ever make a mistake? You are more than the words we sing. You are everything. Everything, everything. You are everything. The first and last, and the distance in between. Everything, everything. You are everything. The first and last, and everything in between. Everything, everything, you are everything. Everything, everything, you are everything. Oh. Everything you are, Waymaker, you can never lose your way. truth and life. It's not possible for you to lie. Forever the same. You can never make a mistake. No. You are more than the words we sing. You are everything. Sing it again. Waymaker. You can never lose your way. You're the truth and life. It's not possible for you to lie. Forever the same. You can never make a mistake. You are more than the words we sing. You are everything. Everything, everything. You are everything. You're the first and last, the distance in between. Everything, everything, you are everything. The first and last, you're the everything in between. Oh, everything, everything, you are everything. Everything. Everything, you are everything. Oh, everything, everywhere you are. My God, you hold it, you sustain it, you preserve everything. Oh, the first and last, you hold everything in your hand.
You did it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great. You're all welcome. Okay, so how many of you are here? You have 33. Let's give just 5 minutes. 8:10 we start. Let's give 5 minutes for everybody to join. Okay? We still off. Okay, so for those of you who are asking, the tools I put up there, it's for the entire course over the years. I mean, different tools that different lecturers use, but so by the time you are done, for this course, primarily it's an initial lecture, so we can dive very deep. Some of you will be left behind. So I will start off with Microsoft Power BI because it's largely visualization, a bit of data analysis in there. Nana, who will take you in the afternoon, will begin with, I'm sure he started introductions basically, but he will begin with R programming also. So you use R. The course is largely hands-on, so please, when we ask you to get a tool, because by the time you are done, you should be able to literally do a number of things, okay? So that it's not just knowledge you picked, but you picked hands-on. For my exam, largely, you have 50% of it being a practical thing you do. You turn in some dashboards with some other things, and then you do the other 50% theory, okay? Written, all this. So, and then Pashti will take you through Python programming for data science, and you also use R in the mathematical foundations for data analytics. And Nana will take you in that way. Dr. Matilda Usubio will come in the block 3. And in the block 3, he will also take you through business analytics strategy. By that time, you would have learned quite a bit, what really data analytics and all these AI and all these things are about. Sometimes a lot of misconceptions all over the place. How people, watching movies is one thing. Watching a movie is one thing, and daydreaming is another. But realities are also different. So in this course, we expose you to the realities of it. When you watch a movie and you see somebody hacking, it's like it's a very easy job. Try one and you see it's a very difficult job. So we will expose you to the truth and the realities, and I'm sure it will be interesting, it will be exciting. We'll have fun. In your second semester, you have to select 2 electives, and then you'll be exposed to big data, the fundamentals of big data. We'll do a bit of databases around that place. Expose you to big data technologies, Hadoop, all those things that make us be able to analyze large volumes of data, okay? Then you will also have, Nana will come back to, he lays the foundations for the mathematics, so we come back to delve a bit much more data into predictive and prescriptive analytics, so that that's a deep dive into serious work on those scores. So I'm sure you do a lot of clustering and stuff like that. So it will be quite an interesting. So please, this course is intensive. I must be honest with you. It's an intensive course. Those of you who don't have strong mathematical background, please start picking up. You do a number of mathematics, especially with the predictives and all of that, and other ones. So on the programming front, data analysis or data analytics generally now evolved with some aspects of AI and all of that. Sits on 4 things. 1 is statistics, 2 is programming, 3 is design, right? That's the visualization perspectives. And then finally, we have storytelling. There are a lot of people who can create wonderful visuals, do sophisticated analysis behind the scenes with all kinds of statistical formulas. There are those who can also program wild and create all manner of things. However, they can't tell their story. Because of that, after all is said and done, if you cannot tell the story, then it becomes a problem. So those 4 things are what you are going to learn throughout this course. That's why I said the course is packed. It's quite, Bosu, Kenya University has a requirement in terms of research methods, theses and all that. So Professor Bosu, the former dean of the business school, he will take you in the 3rd block also on research methods for analytics. So that will be, so he and Dr. Matilda Usebi will take you in that place. Okay, whilst we wait for the others, are there any questions that you might want to ask? Feel free to ask. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, you guys
Hello, Doc.
Okay, so if there any question you may want to ask.
Please, I have a question, Doc.
Go ahead, please.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction. On our timetable, there is online, there is one at Kumasi, and there is one at Accra. I just want to be sure and believe that the one at Kumasi is the same thing that those of us in Accra are going to do. Does
No,
that means that we don't have to go to Kumasi and the same time come to Accra? Or it means the time that they are going to be doing that in Kumasi, the Accra people are kind of free on that weekend? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. So normally over the years, what we've done is that most of the times it's also got to do with the lecturer and the arrangements you come to. But what we've done over the years is normally, when we have face-to-face in Kumasi, we will have a Zoom version of it for the Accra people to join in. When we are having a face-to-face in Accra, we'll have a Zoom version of it for those in Kumasi to join, if you want to join. But normally it's not, let me put it, it's not, depending on the arrangement that the lecturer has, right, with you. Some lecturers might be so busy, they might push all their lectures online. I have one currently. Because of this lecture, I cannot be an ideal. I'm supposed to be an ideal at the same time like this. So sometimes the constraints of different timetables leads us to, sometimes you push a lot of people online and you work with it. But in the analytics one, this year, we want to do a number of the face-to-face. But whenever we do the face-to-face, we allow a Zoom version of it so that those in the other side can also join and listen and ask their questions. I mean, it's just like when you did the orientation, right? Just like when we did the orientation. So anytime that happens, that will also happen along with it. I'll make sure that that arrangement is always done, right? So
thank you very much.
Yeah, so and it's the same thing. It's the same lecturer. Nothing changes. It's the same lecturer. Okay, so depends on. I will not say entirely just timetables are made, but the lecturers also have talks and discussions with you. In like the one I'm teaching on the ideal today, my other colleague has some issues tomorrow. It's a block system. Most universities now do a lot of block systems. So those of you who were asking about the block and you haven't done block system before, block systems are such that, let's say right now in your course, you have six subjects or 6 courses, right? For this particular semester, you take 2 per block, 2 per block, 2 per block, okay? So it's contact hours. So it's about the contact hours we work together. Because even if we're doing it normal, you're coming weekday lecture, the maximum I'll meet you is just 3 hours or 2 hours, right? The whole week. And so nothing fundamentally changes. It's the number of contact hours and we covering the topics. Just that in block systems, you have just, let's say 2 courses, but very intensive. Very, very intensive, okay? So please, it's a back-to-back thing. Once you finish the first 2, you move on to the next 2, then the next 2, then exams will come, okay? All right. On this course, we don't have a specific time for midsem, but each lecturer will arrange the way and manner it is. In my course, you have a series of assignments that you do, you submit them online. So I didn't want us to go through that end, but now that we are here, let me just ask all of you to do that. I've seen, the last time I checked, over 60 students have registered. Almost about 60 or so have registered. So please go to the university's e-learning platform. Go to the university's e-learning platform. I've set up my course there. My assignments, everything are in there. If the need for change in any of the assignments, I will do so accordingly. So I've put the V class there, myclass.knusc.edu.gh. Click on it, please. And then log onto the platform. Your credentials are the same as what you use for your registration, okay? Your credentials are the same as what you use for your registration. When you get in there, you see BDA 555, Data Analysis and Visualization, as one of the courses that you have access to because you've registered it. When you log in, you will see who are logging in. So please try and log in. Okay, seeing Caleb has logged in. Anefia has logged in. Joshua, Yahusu Ankuma, Jerome, Bios. Okay. Please try and log in because all assignments, everything are on the platform. Please, this course, you have a lot of technology-oriented things to do with. So please try and please, as much as possible, try to mute yourself if you know there's going to be a lot of noise from your end. Please.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
I'm unable to access the platform.
If you
So,
1 minute, please. Come again, please. Come again, please. The gentleman was talking. Please unmute yourself and talk. I've muted everybody, so you can unmute yourself now. It's a lot of noise.
Doc, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can't afford it.
Yeah. So I'm unable to log on.
Have you
It keeps saying
registered?
valid.
Have you
Yes,
registered?
Yes, I have.
All right. So if you have issues, just put your number and the issue you are facing on the page. I'll forward it to the IT guys, the e-learning IT guys. We'll try and resolve.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I think we can start off.
Doc, please, if you are talking, we can hardly hear you because you've muted yourself.
Guys, sorry, there was a call from the IDL center, so let me sort out 1 minute. Okay, please, all those who have issues logging on, please just try and I need you to, who is a class prefect? Who's your class prefect? Do you have anybody you've agreed on?
Ransford.
Ransford.
It's Ransford.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, so Ransford, just a minute. Ransford, can you compile the list of those who are having that challenge? So their student ID, and then yeah, basically their student ID and name. If you can compile that, then I'll push it to the IT people and then the e-learning department, and they should be able to deal with it. Okay. Ransford, are you here? Is Ransford here? Hello, Ransford, are you here?
Yes, Doc, I'm here.
So please compile
Hello?
the lists and then just send it to me in Excel, right?
Okay,
And
sure.
those who cannot log on, just let me have that. So far, see, a lot of people have been able to log on anyway. A lot of people have been able to log on from where I sit and I see. So I think we shouldn't. Let me see, status active.
Doc, the last time I reported the issue, they informed us that we should reset our password and log it back in.
So you can try that too, okay?
Yeah, I
You
just did that. I reset my password and it worked. So I think we should try that.
Okay, so please try, just as they've done, just try resetting your passwords and see, okay? If you do and it's fine, if you still have a challenge, then let me know, okay? Okay. Okay, let the games begin. Minutes. Okay, so for today's lecture, we'll be looking at Introduction to Business and Data Analytics, okay? So we're forming the foundations for this, get to understand the ecosystem, get to understand the different professionals that exist in the ecosystem, and finally settle down on a data analyst. This is actually about data analysis and data, so the data analyst job, and then finally goes into the processes that it takes to be able to do data analysis. Okay. So that will be our first lecture. And then we will end with getting to know different tools that can be used for data analysis. I mean, there are so many tools, okay? There are so many tools. And then we will then move into understanding, that is in our second lecture. We'll move into understanding Power BI. So please, I've asked of you to download Power BI, install it. It's only when you are publishing that you need an account to be able to do that. Yes, the other thing, can I get what is his name? Ransford. Please also compile a list of everybody and then their email address, the university email addresses for me, okay? I will ask the UITS when you you can use your university account to access Power BI on Microsoft, right? To be able to use for publishing. For desktop application issues, you don't need an account to log in to do that. You can do all your works. But when you are ready to publish it such that external people can use it, or you can give them access to be able to see it and play with it and work with it, then you will need a corporate email. In this case, you're a student, so you use the university one. So I need a list because naturally the university does not permit people to have access to that. So once I get the list, I'll give it to UITS, and then they can add all of you your university email addresses to that, so that you can be able to work with it online and publish it, correct? The day you have money, that one is you and your organization. You can go and look for your organization's money to purchase your corporate one. All right, great. So we set off. Okay, so what is business and data analytics? Okay, let me ask this. And when you go onto the online platform, if you've logged on, there's an exercise for you over there, and that is the essence of the exercise for me to understand, and your colleagues also understand why you are here. Okay. You're expected to introduce yourself, write a bit on what motivated you, your motivation for this course, okay, and what do you expect at the end of the course. And you're expected to comment on two other classmates, their introduction, what you think about what they've said. So I'm going to begin this also in this lecture just with a few of you so that we understand. So I want to understand, mainly, Ofori, why did you choose to do this course? What's your motivation?
Okay, Doc. So I work as a mineral engineer, and my work actually has two parts. There is the routine work, and then there is the data work where you have to compile all your data, analyze it, and make informed decision to help to optimize the process. So that part of it, we are not taught in school. As in the mineral engineering school, you are not taught that. And you either have to pick it up yourself or do another course to improve upon that skill. So that's my primary motivation.
Okay, so you need a skill for your work. Very important.
Yes.
I understand that. Great, wonderful. Christina, why? What's your motivation for this course, Christina? Christiana Saka, what's your motivation for this course?
Okay.
Christiana, your link is a bit... Hello? Christina, your link is breaking. It's breaking. Your link breaks. Christina, you can type in the chat for me. Okay, just type in the chat for me. Your links breaks a lot. Please, if anybody has his camera on, please put it off. If you have your camera on, just put it off for me, so that the bandwidth can suffice for a number of the people. Okay, let me have another lady. Ajua, can you tell us your motivation for this course? Ajua Bufa, are you here with us?
Yes, please, I'm here.
Okay, I want to know why you chose to do this course.
So just like my previous colleague said, I want to upgrade myself. I'm currently a banker.
Oh, okay.
And I work with the customer service. So yeah.
Okay, so that's wonderful. That's great to know. Okay, so we are having from the mines to the banks. We are having from the mines to the banks everywhere. People are coming in, Jocelyn, are you here with us? Can you hear me? Auntie Jocelyn, are you here? Joycelyn. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, dog, we can hear you.
Hey, Joycelyn,
We can
are
hear
you
you.
here with us or you are not, Joycelyn? Okay, all right. Joycelyn. Okay, what about you? Letitia, are you here?
Yes, sir, please, I'm here.
Okay, so why are you also in this course? I want to understand.
Please, I just wanted to explore. I completed my undergraduate and I'm not working at the moment, so I wanted to like do something, continue with my education. Yes. So.
Okay, so you just want to try it out.
Yes,
Interesting.
sir.
All right, so please do this on the platform. You introduce yourself, you tell us a bit about yourself, and I expect everybody to comment on somebody's own. I'll look at it to help me. So please try and do that. It's a class personality introductions, so that you can be able to understand everybody in the class, see the different spheres, the different set of people. So when you meet face to face, it becomes even much more easier. You know everybody and why they are there and what they are picking up and all of that, okay? All right, thank you very much. Great.
Dog,
Okay,
which platform?
The e-learning platform. Those who have logged in onto the e-learning platform, you see it or you don't see it?
No, I don't see it.
Okay, so when you get there, you see class personality introductions. At the top, introduction to course. When you log on, please, you go to BDA 555, data analysis and visualization. It's been assigned to you. Do you see that? Has anybody you have been able to access the course, right?
Yes.
So when you go there, you have meet your lecturer, course objective, the prerequisites, the syllabus, materials. In fact, all the materials are already available, including other things that might be necessary. When you go to, there's a link where you click and you can get everything. So I've tried to put a lot of materials there for you. So we have all of that there, okay? So for this particular one, we're taking the basis, and the basis is primarily, I'm assuming that none of you have done data analytics in any way. So if what I'll teach the undergraduate people at that basic level, that's what we're going to do right now, so that we can all come to terms with the space and understand. Okay, so let's set the ball rolling. All right, so now data analytics has become a major thing in the space now, right? And currently it has even evolved. Let me put it that way. It has become much more easier with the AIs. Now everybody is doing something AI, something AI, something AI. So if you take the images that you saw at the beginning, right? Let me just have this image out. Let me go to my chat. I mean, you guys use ChatGPT, right? Don't you? Who doesn't know ChatGPT here? If you are doing this course and you don't know ChatGPT,
Yes.
in you. All right. So if you notice the image that we had there, that is the image I generated. So initially, this is what my chat gave me, right? I needed a backdrop, so and so. It gave me this. And then I asked it to put it in an African setting, which it did. So, and all this is becoming possible because data is being analyzed in large quantities. And because of that, we are gradually getting to that point. On this course, maybe unless you do an MPhil or something, I have one of my MPhil students looking at trying to do something on AI for justice or AI for legislature. And he's using the GAN models. You know, the GAN models are what drive the chat GPTs and the rest, okay? Data analysis and stuff makes these things possible for us to type our feelings out, and then the data will convert to images, among others, okay? So data analytics has become very, very crucial and very, very important in today's world, okay? But the biggest challenge still for most organizations is that there are not too many people who are skilled. And I think Menlev mentioned it. When you guys were doing your courses that you are practicing now, those days, there was nothing like data analytics. I mean, nobody would teach you anything about data analytics. The farthest you go is using some Excel to do one or two things. And today, interestingly, have you noticed even today, nobody asks, I haven't seen anybody say I'm going to classes, Excel classes. Those days, people used to go for Excel classes, you know, and you get an Excel certificate and you have to show it and you're excited about it. Gradually, we're getting to the point where people, you need to know Excel. It's not something, it's not a choice you like. It's not something you can say, I won't do it. If you don't do it, your employer will not even, he thinks you are not a serious staff, okay? Yeah, how do we submit information on the learning platform? As you click on the various links, there are different things, assignments and stuff. Maybe I'll try and get e-learning to give you tutorials around it. I think yesterday they did a webinar on something like that. Please try and check the university website. Doc, please, we can't hear you if you are speaking. Hey. Wow, my sound went off. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I thought you were hearing me, and nobody spoke to. Okay, so when I was on this slides, I was indicating the mismatch between the skills that are available in organizations to do data analytics and how many people can really do them. So it's a hotbed, and I indicated there was one person on the course, I think 2 years ago, who took this course after the first semester. She took the Power BI lessons we are doing here very, very serious. And that time Vodafone was trying to go into a lot of analytics, and they were encouraging the analytics related teams to go on to Power BI, and she didn't. She rather end her job with MTN in Dubai, and since then she's been there. So I don't know whether she's back, but I think it really made a lot of difference. I mean, she did a lot. She practiced a lot. She sent me some of her works. We talked about it. She was very serious on the course, and so please take it serious. It can transform your life. And
Hello,
it's
Doc.
the mismatch between those who can do this work and the available jobs out there. There's a huge mismatch. So it's global. It's a global problem. It's not just a Ghanaian problem. Ghana's own is even far worse. I mean, our course is the first data analytics master's course in the country. It's now Legon has also started. Close to about, I think ours is, we are now in our, I think we are in our third or fourth year. So it's now catching up. So there's a huge mismatch, and if you take this course serious, you go far. All right. Now, if you want a career path, this is a typical career path in some of the organizations. Now we have a chief data analytics officer. So you can rise through and reach such a point. Somebody is trying to ask a question. Is somebody
testing my microphone if it works in case.
Okay, thank you, Ofori. Thank you. Okay, so now there are many other professions apart from the data analyst that is in the space. Okay, so we have data science, or the data scientist is there. We will learn about the different aspects of it. We have typical business analytics or business analyst. Then we have data engineering. And then we have a measure of the BI and then the analytics. So we will learn about all of them in this current lecture we are having so that we understand the ecosystem better. So we will learn about that. This course is for anybody. That's why there are no prerequisites. We starting assuming all of you don't know anything. Just that it's an it's an uphill task. So you have to set up and take things much more serious, okay? Your first lecture is very friendly, but your subsequent lectures take a deep dive. All right. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is understand the data ecosystem. Why do we need to understand the data ecosystem? Because data analytics survives on data. Everything is about the data. It is garbage in, garbage out, okay? So if you want to analyze anything, it's all about the data. So you need to understand all the actors and the various tools and the various things that are in the ecosystem, the processes that are in the ecosystem that ensures that the data we work with is as it is, and we can be able to make very good use of. So we are going to understand the ecosystem. We'll look at the processes that the data that we have basically goes through to get us the results that you have been seeing in different applications and tools and all of that for decision making in firms and by government and other people. Now, one of the central things about the data ecosystem that we have now is that we say data begets more data. So today, let me ask, I mean, just on the WhatsApp group page that we have, how much data have we entered, each of us? Or have we encountered? I'm sure a lot of data we have encountered, right? We've been chatting since yesterday, front and back, all of that. And it's a lot of data. And once I put something across, you also want to put something across. We keep exchanging data. So the entire data ecosystem thrives on data. Like I put it, for instance, I always say that if you take WhatsApp, WhatsApp knows even before perhaps you propose to your girlfriend, right? WhatsApp can see that you have 3 potential girlfriends that you are looking at to get one, right? And this is the one you are likely to, because if you analyze the data, the frequency at which you chat with the person, chats with somebody, all of that, you can be able to tell that he has more interest here than he has more interest there. So the data brings itself clearly out there. And because of that, we keep on exchanging data with everyone around us, okay? A typical example is, how does Google judge when we are on the road? How does Google get to know that there's traffic on a particular road and be able to indicate on the Google map that there's traffic here? Pick together 100 phones, look at the rate at which the coordinates in those phones are changing, and be able to predict the speed at which people in that area, how things are. Is it a typical road? Is it a typical road? Is it a human being walking? Is it a car walking? They expect a car to go at a certain speed, right? They expect a human being to walk at a certain speed. If you are running, we can detect that you are running because the speed for running is different from the threshold for running. The speed range is different from that of a human being walking or a car moving. So you're able to get some of these things out of such data, okay? And so we keep on exchanging data and we keep on creating data, and the world is just full of data. I was in one lecture, I indicated something interesting. I was like, you see, really, God is data. God lives and thrives on data. I'm a Christian anyway. Please know, when I'm done, I'll share the video with you. I don't want to strain on the bandwidth for other people. So when I'm done, I'll share the video with you. The recording is still ongoing. Let me see. Yep, our recording. Okay, so the recording is still ongoing. So once we are done, I'll share the video, the video with you, and then the audio as well. All right, so I indicated that God, the first thing God did was to speak, and that's data, right? Let there be light, and that is data. And I asked, why do you think God will say, let there be light? Perhaps it's to make sure that things are organized well. And so in the data ecosystem, organizing your data is central. If you cannot see your data well, garbage in, garbage out. If you cannot take out the missing, you cannot deal with the missing data, you cannot deal with outliers, you cannot deal with certain things in the data to make it more consistent, more accurate, more better, and all of that, it'll become a challenge for you, okay? Great. Now, how is the modern data ecosystem like? And so I'm going to take yourself as an example, as a student. So we are going to have a small discussion about this. Now, say when you were coming to KNUST, before you came, what was the first thing you did before you even applied for admission? Akwesi Ajiman. Abebrese? Akwesi, can you hear me? I have a class, people who don't talk. Are you guys here or you are far away from your phones? Okay, Nicholas.
Yeah,
Nicholas,
we
go
are
ahead.
here. Yeah, we are here.
Nicholas, go ahead. Nicholas, you've raised your hand. Go ahead. Hey, Nico, you've raised your hand, though. I say go ahead, though. You are not talking. Oh. Oh, okay. You wanted to talk about the motivations. Okay. All right. Abebrese, if you can still hear me, please talk. I want to listen. Okay, so what did you encounter? What was the first thing you did before coming here? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, sir, we can hear. We can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
So, as I was saying, first of all, I did a little research about the whole program and what it entailed and what was required of me before I applied. And I already knew a lot about KNUST because I left there not too long ago. So for that, I didn't research much into KNUST, but for the program, I had to research about it and then know what it entailed and what was required of me. So that is what I did.
Yeah, so in applying, what did you do? What was the first thing you went doing? Did you buy a form? Where did you buy the form?
Yes, I did buy a form. I went to when I was filling my form, I was still on campus. So I went to the KNUST commercial area, the banks, and I could have bought it online, but because I was there, I just went to the banks and then I bought the forms and I filled everything.
Okay, so when you bought the form,
after I bought it.
Okay. Okay, let me just ask.
So
when
I
you bought
bought
the
the
form,
form,
you got an ID, right?
okay, sir.
You got an ID.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That ID is what? Currently, what is that
ID?
Mm-hmm.
What is that ID to me?
Currently, what is it?
I think it's my credentials. Okay, currently that ID I used to apply for that ID I used to apply for the forms. I don't think I actually need it again because I'm not going to use to apply for forms again because I've been given a new credential.
Oh, okay, that's interesting to note. Okay, anybody else? Nehemiah.
Yes. I think the student ID contains our information, our data. So that's what I think.
So when you bought the form,
the ID I got.
Yes, the ID you got is actually your student ID. The moment you buy a form at KNUST, that student ID, that ID you got is your student ID. And everything about you in KNUST is linked to that ID. From where you bought the form to your paying of your school, your admission letter coming to you. If you notice, anytime we send you something, that ID is referenced. So you realize that, right? So that ID is what connects everything about you. In fact, just a minute, let me just share this. I'm here right now. This is you guys here. If you can see my page now, I'm on the e-learning platform. Okay. I'm on the e-learning platform now. And so if I take so Nehemiah, that's your student ID 210448083. This ID here is the lifeline to your deadline in KNUST. In fact, years after even you are gone, it connects every data about you. Every possible data about you is connected based on this ID. So this ID is unique to you. It is an independent thing to you, but it also is a connected thing to you. It connects you to every other system at KNUST or beyond KNUST. So in our APIs we've linked with the banks, is this ID that is the most important thing. For your graduation, the day you are graduating, this ID will follow you. In the exam room, this ID will follow you. On the Yield Learning platform, this ID will follow you. The ID will follow you all through. And so it's just like when I always say, when Baumia made a statement, the national ID is worth more than 1,000 bridges. You know, like typical politics, we always take it in a different direction. But what basically meant is that is the lifeline to your deadline. Without it, a time is coming, you will not exist. In fact, you cease to exist if you go to the UK, if you don't have an NI number or an NI card, you really have a big problem. In the US, you don't have a social security number, you are not part of the system. The same way in KNUS, if you don't have a student ID, you are not one of us. Even those we've sacked, those who came with sacked or withdrawn, rusticated, all of them, we reference them based on their student ID. So your student ID is very, very important. Why do we need to understand this? It's the typical modern data ecosystem. Everything is interconnected. All these systems, e-learning, examination systems, registration, your AIM app, everything, all these things, they are interconnected. Though they all stand uniquely on their own, they are interconnected. Now, in the current data ecosystem,
Hello, Doc.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so
something
quite related, unrelated. Yeah, so I think that talking about the uniqueness of ID, so some of us completed KNUST, right? And I still remember my student's ID from about 10 years ago. But I mean, I think if we have a system where doing another programming in KNUST during the so that we can be
sorry,
reassigned.
I missed you a little bit. Come again.
Yes, I was saying that talking about the uniqueness of ID, I think that personally one of the issues we have in Ghana is we have a lot of IDs. Your SNIT is different from your voters and it's different from your birth cert and your passport and whatsoever. So we can start from like our connects, like in KNUST. I did my BSc in KNUST, now MSc in KNUST. So if there is a way that we could have assigned my old ID, right? Because all the information is in the system already. If I want my transcripts from BSc, all that is required is my student ID from then, and it can be accessed. So if we can update that already, instead of we create a new bin of info in a different database. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get you clearly. So I get what you mean. You are right. It's just that so you're going to learn later. That's why Dr. Matudo Usebu will come with business analytics strategy. You see, sometimes having the goodwill is important. Understanding the circumstances are important, but changing culture is not as easy as you think.
It's not, yeah.
Other than that, when the vice president said that, people would have easily understood, but everybody took it on a political ground because we are in Ghana, we breathe and dream and drink politics. So even when you are saying the right thing, like you are saying now, it's not as straightforward as you think. That's why you're on this course. You're going to learn the technicals, but you also need to learn the strategies. Okay. If you don't learn both ends, you find a big trouble. Sometimes you might wish something, you begin from a point. I'm happy now. I mean, when you guys were filling the forms, I think now they've put in the national ID in the forms, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So gradually a time is going to come when even you point your national ID, all these data and everything around you will get linked up naturally. Do you get my point? Yeah. So at KNUST, if I tell you at least I've been involved right from beginning, I've seen a lot of things in our data front and back. Sometimes I remember when when I built the first admission system, I built the first admission system for King University. And when I built it years ago, there was one registrar there who, the main registrar at that time, today he's dead, may his soul rest in peace. He was not comfortable. He felt something can go wrong. Okay. Because of that, those days when you buy a form, we add, when you go to the bank, wherever you go, you buy, we add a single sheet. It's a sheet. It's a single sheet with virtually almost the same information you are given online. Because his argument, okay, in case it fails, what do? We need our paper back. Do you understand me? That is the culture. I can't just change that guy. Okay, we've won some, we've lost some. I'm fine. So, okay, let's marry the two. He said, can we do this? I was excited because I felt this is the right way to go. He was cautious because he felt something will happen. It's like the AI argument now. People are scared, people are happy. So it's normal. So you need to understand these strategies you need to put in place, the politics, all manner of things. It is not just learning the technicals. For the technicals, everybody will, if you are serious and hardworking, you can do them. But these dynamics. So, man, Ofori, I understand you perfectly. What you are saying makes a lot of sense. Okay. It would have been great if you are coming to buy a form and you have an existing student ID. You go, you mention your student ID, the same ID should come to you and we move on, right? In fact, currently as we sit, our database structure supports that. It has the primary key in there combines both your both the student ID and then your exam index number. So we have those dynamics. Actually, we separate everybody who applies from those who actually came based on the exam index number. So the reason is, so that you're letting me go back into history. So years ago, if you remember, we had a scenario where the Nigerians were coming around with a lot of occultism. You remember those days? If you read them.
Yes.
And I remember when Otumfuo came out to make a statement about that. And, interestingly, since we started, we've operated this, like I said, I was part of the early guys, so I saw everything evolving. And we kept gathering data of anybody who tries to come to the university. And people didn't understand why we have the exam index number, we had the student ID. It was meant to separate those who came and those who did not come, right? That's one of the fundamental things. Now, when the Nigerians were doing that, I remember the BN, all the campuses have a BNI guy, there are a number of BNI people in our midst who are always on with us for intelligence gathering data. It's not about NDC and PP. That's always been there since time immemorial. So there's always an official BNI person attached to like KUS. And I remember he approached me and the guys and said, can we get all Nigerians who have even dreamt or tried to come to KUST? And imagine, Mandy, we didn't have that data. Because we would have assumed, they were not as they didn't come. So what do? We throw that data away. Do you understand my point?
Yeah.
And we realized most of the people who came to do that, their goal was not to come to school. The school is just like the new first lady. You remember the PR, the new first lady. You go and really, her goal is not to come to school. The school is just a means to get into the country. Then the person comes to do his or her own activity. So if immigration comes in, he shows credentials as if he's in school, but he's not in school. So it was a similar thing the Nigerians were doing. They were using Silicon Valley, the Silicon Valley Hotel at, if you're in Kumasi, there's a hotel close to campus called, that's where they were using as their hideout. So they had all that. We were able to serve the BNI with all that data because we had an admission system. It was electronic, all of that. We had the data. They picked all that data. In fact, when Otumfo spoke about it, they had clamped them down almost 6 months ago. They had clamped them, they have deported them, they had done all the things they needed to do. And so data is important, and I like your argument. We continuously evolve, okay, in our data set. That's why now we've put in the national ID, because one of the goals of the national ID thing, which I see, and I always say that even if Baumia does not win the election or whatever it is, posterity will always judge him as having really helped this country in terms of making us more modern in the way we manage our data as a country. And for me, I think it's a good thing. We are evolving. Data will continuously evolve. Okay, it continuously change. So we are not static as a university. We are evolving. I'm happy with the national ID being added as another level to be able to connect the data. That gives us even a much bigger view than just the view you are talking about. Okay. I'm not currently in the helm of affairs in those places now, so somebody else is in it. I think your argument is valid. We should consider it and work towards it. Just that, like I said, there'll be a backlash. People will not understand it overnight. But I think
and it will take some time.
Thank you. You know how Ghana is now. Even when you mean well, before you realize they'll do politics and finish you. And
I know, right?
you will learn about I'm sure when Matilda comes in, you learn about the organizational data culture, right? So you understand the way culture affects and all these things. It's not a straightforward thing. So thank you very much for that. All right, so let's move on to now appreciate the data ecosystem. Now, and just like Ofori said, so you realize that you can have data from different sources, okay? So in the typical data ecosystem of current nowadays, it's not just one data set. It's not KNUST's data. No. If you just focus on KNUST's data, you miss it. Can you have data from KNUST, from the national ID system, from maybe your social security? I mean, different data sets brought together. So that's how the modern data system looks at things, okay? You aggregate data from different sources, disparate sources in different forms. Some are structured. We'll learn about structured, unstructured, semi-structured data. So you have all these kind of disparate sources of data. Now, just a minute, please, guys. Yeah. Now, apart from having data from disparate or different sources like that and trying to integrate them, and normally that's why the IDs and all these things and not what we call non-obvious relationship awareness happens. When we talk about NORA basically helps. You see, there are several ways you can look at data, and a typical example is our phone number. So let me give an example which happened. I think this happened about 5 or so years ago. I'm not sure of the exact time. So I think 5, 6 years ago, you know, in the northern part of Ghana towards the Cote d'Ivoire side, I think it's the Cote d'Ivoire side, right? This side is, no, Cote d'Ivoire is this side, the Togo direction. So some time ago, and the Ministry of Finance and the minerals people came to find out that what happened? They had people mining, you know, they were doing mining in those areas. Typically in the north, there's not much mining, right? But how did they detect that there is mining going on? So all of a sudden, MTN in its Momo system started realizing huge volumes of transactions in terms of amounts of Momo moving out of a particular remote place in the north towards those directions. And that data is not related to mining, right? It's not related to mining. Momo data, let me ask, is Momo data related to mining? Hello? Is he
Not at
related?
all.
The guy in the mind, is he related? It's not related. So why would
It
they
is not
bother
related
themselves?
at all.
But it's related to an economic activity, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you start seeing from a particular place in Ghana, people are sending 10,000, 20,000, things like that, huge volumes in a day. You ask yourself, Timburu, and Pala or something. All of a sudden, what sort of thing is there that is making money move in large quantities like that? It's not obvious, right? But the moment you detect there is an economic, the moment you see huge volumes moving out of a place, consistent from different sources in the same place, it should tell you and let you wake up and realize that, look, there's a serious economic activity going on in this place. So MTN informed the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Finance went in to investigate. And then that was when it wasn't even related to Ministry of Finance, but it was from the Ministry of Finance direction. And then they went and realized that there's serious mining going on in that place. Serious galamsey going on in that place. Okay. So though the data might be disparate, one way or the other, they are connected. So don't envisage your data just as something just with the way you are looking at it. It might be unrelated, but it might be related through some other means. Because the connection might not be direct. You know, we live in a world where our minds are sometimes very simplistic, this, that, direct. But if you want to be a data analyst, you don't think that that's straight direct. No. You have to think beyond. You have to see data in a whole different perspective. Okay. I don't believe in it's not possible. I believe that it is possible. Anything you put your mind to. The only difference might be the time frame. Okay. Whilst I may believe something is possible, it might take 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It doesn't mean it cannot be done. Giving time. That is why managing your time is very, very critical and important. It's the most scarce resource you can ever have on planet Earth. All the others you can get, but time is a very scarce resource. Once it passes by you, you can't just get it again. You can multiply time. You can multiply your time by employing more people to do the same thing that you are trying to do for you in different ways. But you cannot regain time once it gets passed by. Now, because of that, like what I mentioned, you need to also have different ways to analyze the data, because some of the data may come structured, some may come unstructured, and you need to develop the skills for that. What do you mean by structure? Let me give an example. If you take videos, right? Typical video, right? You cannot say you can put video in a typical Excel sheet, rows and columns. Can you do that? Can you put video data in such a format? I don't think so. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you take your typical, maybe a typical multiplication times table, you can put it in rows and columns, right? You can do something like that. It's very simple. Or you want to buy things in a shop, unit price, blah, blah, blah. You can organize them in a simple table and it works. So different data requires different types of analysis and skill set. That's why on this course, you're going to learn different things. When Anna meets you, he will take you through all manner of analysis, okay? You will see different ways to analyze different things. Please, it's not difficult. Open your mind up and then learn. That's all. That's the secret. And today, most of the tools make analysis quite easier. We don't think too much to do analysis, but you need to understand the mathematical basis for some of them, right? Now, having said that, the other thing you need to understand, there are different stakeholders that are interacting, that work on the data, that need the data. For instance, Manly, let me come back to you. The boss in your company, does he care about the mathematics you did to get your results?
No, nobody cares.
He doesn't even, all he wants to see is a dashboard with some figures, which means something. That's it. Or So
Yeah.
nice table with something. That's it. In fact, even that might be your maybe the operations boss who might want to see a bit detail. But the CEO of your company, do you think he cares about that table and those things? No, it doesn't. He wants to see a figure. Okay. Like, let me take the banks, for instance, those in the banks. GCB managing director does not care about what happened at Asokwa branch. It's the least of his worry. He wants to see what happened in Ashanti region. He wants to see what happened in the Greater Accra region. He doesn't care about a branch in Asokwa. He's looking at an aggregated data and in a very high level, at a high level thing, okay? Whilst the branch manager is so interested in what every teller is bringing, right? So different stakeholders collaborate and work on the data and see different insights from the data. That's the nature of the data ecosystem. Everybody has what he wants to see. And so I have a theory where I say that people are selfish with data. So, and it's natural. Everybody doesn't care about what you care about. Everybody cares about what they care about. Okay? It's what is of interest to them. Once they get what is interested to them, they don't care about the rest. But you as a data analyst cannot think that way. They are users of the data. They consume the reports you put out there, the insights you put out there. So it's normal for them to see things that way. But you need to see the bigger picture of different stakeholders who are all coming in to make this a reality. So you need to perceive and think that way. Because of that, and because everybody wants to see different things, there are different tools, different applications, infrastructure you have to put in place, different databases. And when we do big data, we'll do MongoDB. We will see how we will do both MySQL, we'll do MongoDB as a big data related tool. I will take you a bit on a journey through Azure. So you see Azure HD Insights at that high level, okay? You see different things, and after that, whichever path you want to continue, you can continue, but I will expose you to all these different, from structured data, how it's managed with typical MySQL, to MongoDB, which manages both unstructured and semi-structured data, into HD Insights or AWS cloud that you can use to manage very huge sets of data. Okay, so we'll see from different perspectives and see how. And these things make it very important to have these different tools, because even the analysis, Power BI, for instance, which is going to be the main thing for what we start off with, but I'll show you at points where you can integrate. So you're able to, Power BI strength can be extended through Python or R, right? For very complex analytics, very complex visuals, very complex and sophisticated analysis, right? By you integrating them that way. And when you do that, it opens the power of Power BI beyond. Okay. It's the same with Tableau, with all the other visualization related tools. So when we get there, I'll do those things for you to see. Now that we understand, so this is the typical data ecosystem from a typical business perspective or a typical government perspective. And these things are quite okay. All right, thank you, Ransford. Okay, so please, Ransford has put there, those who are not seeing forgotten username or password is there. So I think you can do that to reset. Okay. Okay, so now that we understand this as the ecosystem with different data sources, the various things that are going front and back in between them, and the users that are involved and all of that, now let us move on to understand the different data that is in this. So we're taking one by one. The first we are taking is the data sources. Okay. There are two main forms of data, okay, that are available, okay? Structured and unstructured data. I've mentioned structured data. So your typical structured data is, let me share my screen rather to make my up and down movement quite a bit easier for me. For now, let me see 1 minute. Let me see. Okay. So let me have a typical, this is my typical Excel. So maybe I have student ID, student name, or marks or something, right? Let me generate some random data. We have 25 students here with their student IDs. And then perhaps have their names, John, whatever it is, Mafo, EC, Kwame. Okay, so let me just run this all the way here, something like that. Okay. And then their various marks are there. Let's have marks randomized between, let's say, 50, let's say 25 and 90. I'm just making an assumption here. We have that. Okay, so this is a typical structured data. Okay, you can be able to work with it by putting them in your typical columns and rows. If you were using my navigator has expired. Okay, if you were using a typical database, let me see whether I have any. This is a new machine, so forgive me. Okay, I have Beaver here. Let me see. I have Beaver here. Okay, good. All right. So I have Navicat here, but what I have here is expired, so I just didn't want to go that route. I was using the trial. Okay, no problem. Okay, so if you have your typical database, hold on 1 minute. It's a new machine, so let me have ID SQL. Download ID. Well, we need this thing here. So you can have a typical database, a structured database, okay, which normally will have that also. So you can have your typical structured database in there. And then you can have unstructured data ones, databases like MongoDB. We have MongoDB. So this is typical MongoDB, where you have the data in MongoDB handles both semi-structured and all of that. But then what I want to put across primarily is the fact that you have data that can be organized in a formal way, okay, in typical tables, rows and columns and stuff like that. That's what we put that. Normally, when you can put your data in such a format, we say your data is structured. Then we have unstructured data. So if we take a typical, your email, let me take emails for instance. Forgive me, let me see. Okay, let me take this data here. So somebody logged in onto the So this is your email. Okay, if you take your email, for instance, here. Now, the basic structure of every email, if I'm to compose, it has from, to, subject, right? You have copied, you have blind copy, and then you have other things that your subject. But you realize that all these things are fixed, right? All these things are fixed. So I can be able to put this data in a format like this. If I'm compiling an email from, to, maybe CC, BCC, what is the other one? Subject. But when it comes to the body itself, I can't really tell what to go in there. It's so unstructured. While somebody will have some attachment and have some other things, some images and all these things, which makes it very difficult to do that. Other portions of this email, when I'm sending, will have portions that are structured, whilst a portion like the body is so unstructured. There's not much I can do with it, okay? So that's when you have data of such a nature, we say the data is semi-structured. Portions of it are structured, portions of it are unstructured, right? And when you have typical your videos, let's say YouTube, your typical YouTube video, right? When you try to play the typical video that is streaming, you can't have it, it's not structured, right? It's unstructured, okay? Because you can't even tell what is inside the video, right? It's so difficult. If you are to output it, is very difficult. If you take a typical image, let me have 1 minute, let me open an image such as the one that I was trying to use for your thing here. Let me try and something like this, okay? This is the raw image. But if you want the data associated with this image, let me see, base 64, okay, image binary. Let me see. So the typical, let me use something like this, okay? And picking the image we have here, trying to upload it. Oh, I could have even seen it this way. I've even from here will be difficult. Let me use let me see what I can see. Yeah. Now, unless I see it in there. Okay, I'm coming. Let me use Bing easily, or Firefox has that. Uh-oh, I don't even have Firefox. It's a new machine, so forgive me. To see. Okay, let's use the inspect aspect. So the typical, this one is using the link. Let me have the binary out. The binary is what will help me. Okay. So this is a typical binary of it, okay? Or if I wanted it in the base 64 directly, okay, image to base 64. Uh-oh, it says the file size is too big. Let me see this one. File size is too big. Uh-oh. Okay, so this is the typical image, the base 64 of it. So this you cannot represent this data in a typical if it was in a text, this is how it is. It's difficult to make sense out of this data, okay? So that is how images will come. That is how videos will come. They come in very, very unstructured manner. You can't really make sense out of this data you have here. Let me see if I paste this in a typical notepad. Let me see what I'm getting here. In a typical notepad, this is how it appears like, okay? This is how it appears like, okay? Now, you can actually also, and it is, so let me even use, okay, so let me use something like this one now. So I'm pasting the raw thing here. I've pasted, and I ask it to decode the image. So when I ask it to decode the image, it will try and give me, so this gibberish you saw, that, 1 minute. It's still processing. Let's give it some time. Okay. So you see, it's been able to process this gibberish which you are seeing into the image. It's been able to convert it back into the image. So typically from a text point, this is how your image is. Gibberish. So we say it's unstructured. It's not something you can easily make sense out of if it's put in its text form, right? Good. And because of that, such data we say is unstructured, right? Such data we say is unstructured. So you have videos, you have images, you have different ones over there. You have those that are coming from IoTs or Internet of Things. Some of them too are coming from TV. You are watching like your Netflix and all of that stuff like that. So you need to understand all these different dimensions of data: structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Because if you don't understand them, if we go back to the ecosystem, because there are different data sources and different data structures, you have to have different ways to analyze them. You cannot use the same way you analyze, you are analyzing structured data to apply to unstructured data. It just will not work. It won't work, okay? Because the techniques are different. The assumptions are different. Everything about it is different. So it's important that you appreciate that. The good thing is nowadays, there are a lot of tools which makes a lot of these analysis quite much more easier. If you only have money to buy the resources that is able to run those kind of models for you. Okay, now we've understood the different types of data that is in the data sources, okay? Any questions, please, before I move on? Any questions? Any questions from anybody? Nana will say, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, please, for the data sources, you made mention of structured and then unstructured. But then in your earlier presentation, you made mention of semi-structured also.
I'm actually...
So what can you say about the semi-structured also?
Okay, so semi-structured, I was trying to use the email one to show you the semi-structured. So if you notice the email, portions of it are fixed from, to, so and so. So I can represent them in a structured form. But where I have content, which is the part of the body, some content is video, some is images and all of it's unstructured. There's no formal structure to it. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So because of that, while some portions are so structured and they take normal text and the rest, other portions of the same data which I'm consuming from emails is unstructured. In such instance, we say it's semi-structured. Because you are pushing me towards the 1 minute, let me take you there, but we will cover it, but I just wanted to hold on. Okay, so this structured, so semi-structured, and then I have the unstructured. I'll show you different ways by which you can work with them and stuff like that. But I had to mention it at the early stages so you can appreciate when we get there. Are you okay, Nana?
All right. I'm okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions, please? Okay, thank you very much. So I'm moving on. So we are still laying the basis and the foundation so we can take off, okay? Now, having said that, it doesn't matter what kind of analysis tool you use. What I'm going to talk about now is applicable to almost all analysis related tools. Power BI, R, Python, Tableau, ClickSense, Pentaho, all manner of them, all manner of tools. What I'm going to talk about, so I'm coming much from a generic perspective, so you can appreciate these things. Because the way we analyze data will not change, irrespective of whatever tool you are using. There will be nuances in terms of specificities, but it's the same. Now, there are three main steps to analyzing data or to working with data from different data sources. And when we get to Power BI, you see this clearly at display. When you go to R, it will be the same thing. When you go to Python, it will be the same thing. Okay. Now, when you're working with data that is coming from different sources, the first step is that these systems basically make a copy of the data. They normally pull a copy of the data, and then they work with the data. So, in real sense, there is nothing like real-time data. There is always, the farthest you can go is the time difference between when the copy and then the actual. So, while some, and we'll learn them later on, while we do what we call batch process, those in the banks, you know those things, those IT people in the banks. We do batch processing, we do streaming processing or real-time processing, okay? Now, when we say we are doing real-time processing, reality is not. It's not real. It is the time difference. So you realize that it might be just about, let's say, maybe 3 seconds delay or a second delay or 2 seconds delay. In some cases, can go as far as an hour delay, 2 hours delay, stuff like that. I mean, if you've ever tried doing Zoom before, Zoom is really not real time. In real sense, when I speak, there's a delay before you hear. Just that you don't have, if you can try doing such a thing. If let's say you are streaming Zoom by yourself, you can open it on your phone. Maybe you are streaming from your laptop. You can open it from your phone. You realize that when you speak, there's a slight delay before the phone gets it because the data has to move, right? And so it's like basically they're making a copy of the data for the person at the other end to have it. So it's a similar thing, okay? So always that kind of perspective coming, and they push it. Most systems will push it into their memory, okay? So in today's world, we have what we call in-memory analytics and stuff like that. So that's how we try to achieve near real time. So most systems will do an in-memory analytics. So the moment it hits memory, they start analyzing. They don't analyze and go and output the results later. They start analyzing right there. So those ones give near real-time analysis. Okay. Now, at this stage, basically, what you are focused on so far as the data is concerned is the format of the data. Is it structure? Is it unstructured? Is it a CS? If you talk about different types of formats, you have maybe, we'll learn about some of them shortly. We have maybe an Excel format, a CSV format. In CSV, we have comma delimited, tab delimited. We have different formats of data, right? That we want to work with. Sometimes too, you have data from different sources. So some data is in, let's say, Excel, while others is in CSV. Some is coming from a typical database like MySQL. Those who know Access, some is coming from Access. Some is coming from your Oracle database. Some they're coming from different sources. And really, that's the reality of the data. Like the typical KNUST thing I mentioned with your student ID, the banks have different databases. KUSC has its own database. We use Microsoft SQL Server in some of our databases. The banks may use Oracle. Others may use those who are on what is it? What's that? Some of the banks, yeah, T24. Thank you, my dear. I was trying to bring it. Those who are on T24 might also be using some other database and stuff like that. Even within that, you can have different. Some will adopt T24 with a different database. Others to adopt T24 with another database. So all these data are in different formats. And bringing them together is the reason why the system tries to pull a copy of the data so that it can be able to aggregate itself and work nicely and harmonize things. Okay, right. Now, at this point, the key goal, which is mainly why we are driving towards, is to ensure the data, we can rely on the data. Okay, to ensure we can actually rely on the data, to ensure that the data that is coming to us is secure. That's why a copy is made. Because when you have live systems, people try to manipulate the data. And when they manipulate it, will affect and also ensure the integrity of the data. Okay. So those are the reasons why at this first stage, we try to do, irrespective of the data analysis tool that you are using. Now that the data is in, it has made a copy of it. The second step, and this is the most, I'll be honest with you, working with data over the years, this is the biggest job in data. The first guy is just a system trying to do something. This is the headache of every data analyst. Organizing the data, this second step. Organizing, cleaning, optimizing, standardizing the data. This is the biggest headache. And at this point, if you fail, whatever results you get has failed. So that's why it's the biggest problem. You need to organize your data well. You need to make sure that missing values are taken care of. You need to make sure that outliers are taken care of. You need to make sure that incomplete data. You know, when you go gathering data and you have data, sometimes the data comes to you and some fields are not filled. Some places are left blank. Some, you get the data and you have sex, let's say gender, let me use gender, okay? You have male and female. In some places, they've typed male, M-A-L-E. In some of the data, it's female, F-E-M-A-L. Some places they've made it M, some places they've made it just F. I mean, when you have data of this nature, it's not easy. You need to organize the data. There's no magic wand. There's no magic wand. The data needs to get organized. If it doesn't get organized, you are in trouble. You might wish all the good ideas about getting something out of the data, but it's useless to you. Garbage in, garbage out. That is why sometimes it's important that when data is being gathered, try to conform. Make sure that people conform, okay? Standardizing your data is critical. And because of that, we have what we call master data in most organizations and stuff. So you have a typical master data thing, which looks at ensuring that every data coming in conforms to a certain set of rules. So if you violate any of the rules, the data is rejected. They don't even take it. If you don't do that, you have a lot of problems with the data that you receive. Sometimes you can have so much data, but you can't do anything with it because of the way the data is. It's so messed up that you can't do anything with it. And these things are very, very important. They're very, very important. Now, I've gone through experiences with them, and I can tell you, this is the hardest part of the work. So this is the main thing when it comes to that stage, the stage 2, ensuring that compliance and standardization is adhered to, okay? Guidelines for that ensure that the way you store the data. In fact, this is where people can sue you. I worked on a project for International SOS. It was about 5 years ago. And one of the conditions for us to be able to do this was we needed to be able to have the data. We needed to have conditions when the data is at rest and then when the data is in motion. What do they mean by data at rest? Data at rest simply means that when the data is on your typical hard drive, the machine is not on, it's just on the hard drive, nothing is happening. Certain conditions must be met. In the same vein, when the data is in motion, that means that you are sending data, is coming, flowing, and out. There are certain conditions you have to meet. And these are all part of standardization in data, okay? Different organizations the Americans have one of the most stringent especially their health sector, has one of the most stringent compliance issues when it comes to data. So if you are dealing with things like that, you have to be very, very extremely careful, because if you don't follow their rules, it doesn't matter. The moment you are dealing with an American company, remember you have headache when it comes to data compliance. If you are dealing with a Ghanaian company, nobody cares too much about data in terms of compliance. The data that's down now. I think the data protection guys are gradually coming in. They are doing well, and I think the team is doing well. They are pushing gradually. They are trying to ensure that people start conforming, and I think it's a good step. They might not have it all, but I think it's a good step. It takes time, right? It takes time. It takes time. Everything you want to do takes time. Now, adhering to the master data tables within an organization, like I said, is critical. And what is the master data table? So you have an organization comes up with, Melody, go ahead.
Okay, Doug. With the first point, I wanted to find out what is the IoT devices. I don't know. Is it LOT or IoT devices?
Yeah. Okay, Akwaba. I thought you saw it here. Internet of Things.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that is Internet of Things. It's called IoT. Okay. So if you don't know Internet of Things, let me see whether I can get. Sometimes it's good to use videos to showcase what you want to do. So let me see. IoT. Let me see whether I can get a small. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, you are going to get, those of you who went to KNUSC, you have ID cards, right?
Yes, we do.
Melody, did you go to KNUSC?
Yes, Doug.
So you see your ID card?
Yes, sir.
It's a small IoT device, just that you are not aware.
Oh, okay.
It's an RFID card. Do you know that? Did you ever use your card to open a door in KNUSC?
No, but I use my mom's own. I think when you want to get access to the gate, which gets you to I think commercial area.
The bomb
Yeah,
gate.
the bomb. Yeah.
So without your card, you can't go in and come out. I mean, before the students did their strike and they destroyed a lot of the halls, the gates that are there. But I think SRC still has it. The SRC hostel still has it also. I'm not sure. But basically, you go to hotels. So all those cards are RFID cards, okay? And there are two ends of it. The door that you swiped has something in it that is trying to detect something from the card. So when you swipe it, the RFID number in there goes to the database of the university, right? So it goes there and checks to see whether your ID in the card is supposed to be giving access to enter here or not. Okay. So that's a typical IoT thing. So we have a lot of IoT in a lot of systems now, in a lot of devices all over the world, which we use to track so many things, right? So that's your typical IoT. They're also serving data, and a lot of it, okay? I mean, it's a whole lot of them, okay? All right, great. Your smart watches and the rest have a lot of sensors. Now, when you go sleeping, have you seen the smart watches? Now, when you go sleeping, what happens? Melody, have you used a smartwatch for sleeping before?
No, Doug.
Anybody use a smartwatch for sleeping before?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, tell us your experience. What did you use to measure your sleep or what?
Yeah, so it basically checks the amount of sleep you're having based on which part of your sleep was deep sleep, which of it wasn't.
tries to calculate the quality of your sleep based on the information gathered throughout the period.
So have you noticed that days where you have deep sleep, you normally dream?
I haven't taken notice of that yet.
Take note of it. Days you have very deep sleep, you see that you dream. Deep sleep dreaming normally comes when you have deep sleep.
Oh, okay.
So maybe a time will come where they'll be able to even tell the I'm hoping a day we can be able to move brain waves into images. That would be a very interesting one. Then we can imagine. Now we are being able to measure answers with sleep. How are they able to measure that? Isn't that interesting, guys? So there are sensors in your there is a sensor in the watches that keeps on sending signals and measuring your nerve issues, your blood flow and stuff like that constantly. And that's how they're able to measure all these things. All these things are IoT devices which are being embedded in the smartwatches to do that, right? Great. So I'm sure, Melody, now you know what an IoT is.
Yes, Doug. Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking. Please, if you don't understand something, this lecture is just a foundational lecture. We are going to get into actual work in terms of the Power BI and stuff tomorrow. So please, today is foundational. We are just lifting up. Tomorrow we'll jump. So please come along with me. Please make sure you download the Power BI install for me. Okay. And it's not a difficult thing. Once we get there, you will appreciate. Akwesi? Hey, Akwesi, into you to make us.
No, good morning.
I'm proud, sir. When we are me. Akwaba, what do you say? Question.
Okay. So I realized from the Power BI link that you sent that I think it's not compatible with Mac. So I just wanted to find out if there's a way around it or we have to change device.
What is not compatible with yours? Is it a company's laptop?
No, but it's a MacBook. And then it just gives me the Windows option. It's not giving me a MacBook option.
Oh, okay. If it's a MacBook, then you have to install a VM.
A VM, okay.
Hey, you know what a VM is?
No, but I'll find out.
Okay, you have to install a virtual machine.
Okay.
So you install a virtual machine, and the virtual machine will allow you to set up Windows in the VM. Then you install the Power BI in the VM. Are you in Kumasi? Are you in Kumasi?
Yes, I'm in Kumasi. Yes.
Okay, so if you have a challenge, you can come to the UITS. When you come, look for Tesla. Tesla was on the analytics program last year. So you look for Tesla. He sorted a number of the guys out on that. Okay. He's at the UITS place. You can send me a hi. I'll send you his number. You can call him and tell him Dr. Services. Right. We'll sort you out. Thank you. All right. So what says the time? So step 2 and step 3. Okay. So in organizing the data, like I said, the goal is to standardize. The goal is to ensure that people adhere to the regulations that come with it. Now, why do we do that? We do that because we want to be able to ensure that we can manage the
No, please, we can't hear you.
Sorry, my daughter did something. She came to pick the internet off without even talking to me.
No, I put my private one on, so I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just do this and end the lecture, conclude for this session. All right, so that said, the biggest challenge that comes along with it is ensuring that the data is always available, people can access it, it's flexible. It is not an easy thing to ensure it's flexible because different people want different things out of the data, especially when you have a master data table, which is encompassing the entire organization or assume the entire country. It's not an easy task. Ensuring everybody is tying in. I can tell what the NIA one is. It's I'm sure it's those working on the systems, ensuring everybody's interest is taken care of. It's not an easy thing. Anyway, let's move on, guys. Okay, so the last step to this is once you've been able to organize your data well and all of that, we'll go through the practical steps when you use the Power BI. So you appreciate these steps clearly from a practical perspective. The last step is ensuring that once you are done, you can make the data available to people. And when we say making the data available to people, basically, there are different people who want to use the data, okay? We have business people, we have some applications, you have analysts, you have data sciences, and all manner of people who want to make use of the data and output it in different ways. And so that becomes the last step. That's where visualization comes in. That's where you actually go through using the mathematical things to analyze and all of that from a descriptive form, from a predictive, from a diagnostic, from a prescriptive point. You are able to do all these things. So that is what the third step is all about. Okay, let me end this. Now, because of all these nuances, right, in today's world, things have evolved. And so to be able to deal with the data from its various sources, the storage, and ensure that you're able to have all these things working, a lot of cloud technologies have evolved in today's world in the modern data ecosystem. And so cloud technologies have become the backbone to almost all the things we are doing. Now, it doesn't make sense to have very huge data centers for your own organization. Most organizations now go to companies that provide these cloud services and sit in it and work. Now, we also having very sophisticated tools or techniques like machine learning, like deep learning algorithms. We have, when it comes to machine, we have neural networks, we have genetic related algorithms, we have all manner of them that we are using, okay? So that is also a major thing within the space. Now we have a lot of AI things, which are even making things much more easier without prelude to the complexities that happen behind the scenes. In fact, when you go in, there's a lot of complex things that happen behind the scenes, okay? But today, the output, so that's this part, making the data available, the output, the visualizations, make it so simple. I didn't have to think about the image I showed you. I didn't have to think about the GAN models and stuff and the other models that are trying to make these drawings possible, okay, by typing my text or feelings in it. Now, the other last thing which is important before we end today, this first session, is that because data is in that large volumes and is coming constantly, can you imagine how many servers? I'll try, maybe when we come back, I'll just play a short video on Facebook at these early stages when they were. Now I'm sure they've grown way beyond. So now it's far. Can you imagine how many servers are used to store the pictures, the images we just generated in the last 1 hour just on Facebook or even on our WhatsApp? That's why WhatsApp doesn't, have you noticed WhatsApp doesn't keep record of our chats, of our chats beyond a certain limit. Now I think it's about 3-4 days or something. Previously, I think it was just about 48 hours. So if you notice, somebody sends you a file, and after some time, maybe you allow the file, you don't open the file, 2-3 weeks, you can't access it. Actually, when you access the file, it stores on your machine.
Like your text, you know, all your texts, all the WhatsApp chatting you've been doing is being stored on your phone, right? Once it comes onto your phone, it stays there. WhatsApp just keeps a record up to a certain point. That's why they constantly tell you to back up. Because WhatsApp is not backing up for you. And they don't back up to their servers. They keep backup for just a short period. Because the data is so large, it's so enormous. I'll show you the Facebook one. At some stages when they started, at a point, the guy, I remember, if you watch the video, he was, and this was in 2009 thereabouts, or I think 2009 or so, early 2010s, 2009. They were taking, every day, they were taking receipt of 1,000 and over servers, 1,000 servers, just to keep our images and pictures and our text. So you can imagine, it's enormous. Now there's even on Facebook, look, have you noticed on Facebook and some of these social media ones, you look for something, you see a video right now, the next moment you come back, you refresh, you can't see it again. It's lost in the pile of data. It's gone because there's so much data. And so big data has become a key thing. We will learn about the fundamentals of big data in the second semester. Okay. So we'll end our lecture here. We'll reconvene at 10:30, 10:35 to look at the key players in the data ecosystem. And then we'll look at data analysis itself, the process that we go through. And then finally, we'll end our lecture for the day. Okay. Tomorrow we delve deeper into Power BI. So please, for tomorrow's lecture, all of you, please try and install your Power BI. Those who are having challenges, like the Mac guy, you can try to look for the VM and see if you can do that. If you cannot, do you have the Mac guy? Do you have ChatGPT?
Yes, I do.
So you can ask ChatGPT for steps. It'll guide you.
Sure.
Okay. Or ask it for a video which can help guide you. It will guide you. Okay. And you settle that up. You should be fine. All right. Usu Aquamoa. Yeah.
Yeah, Doc. So earlier on, I was trying to figure out the class personality test you gave us, how we can submit data to the learning platform. I think when you started speaking, the audio went off, so we couldn't hear the answer.
Oh, the class personality, I said log on to the e-learning platform, and then it's over there. You click on it, you contribute. It's a forum. It's a simple forum.
Okay,
It's
so
a simple.
Yeah, Doc, but there's
we were there, but there wasn't any editing space for us to type in there. That's why I asked that question.
So it's a forum. You click on it like this. Can you see my screen?
We can see the PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me come in as a student. Let me change my role to be a student so that you can see. So this is it. You click on it, and then you can add a discussion. Okay. Oh, okay. I put you in groups. 1 minute. I'll make a small edit here. Okay. Okay. So let me make a small edit here. Okay. I'm not a member of any group, so I think what I'll do is I put them in groups earlier on. Okay. So let me make an edit here. 1 minute. Hold on. Just a minute.
Okay, Doc.
I've seen what you're talking about. Okay, try it again. Let me see.
Okay, Doc. Doc is still saying you're not able to create a discussion because you are not a member of any group.
So. Okay, you let's end. I'll take a look at it when we come back. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so please reconvene in 30 minutes. So 10:40, we should be back. Thank you. I will not log off, so those who want to stay.
Okay, Doc, thanks.